Today we spend the hour south of the border on the political changes that are sweeping across South America. Academy Award-winning filmmaker Oliver Stone has taken on 3 American presidents in JFK, Nixon, and W. A Vietnam War veteran, he was decorated with a Bronze Star and a Purple Heart. As a filmmaker, he's tackled the most controversial aspects of the war in his classics Platoon and Born on the 4th of July. He looked at the greed of the financial industry in the Hollywood hit Wall Street and the sequel Wall Street 2, Money Never Sleeps, premiered at the Cannes Film Festival last month. Well, now the acclaimed director of films like Salvador, Comandante, and Looking for Fidel returns to Latin America. In his latest film, releasing this week in the United States, Oliver Stone takes a road trip across South America, meeting with 7 presidents from the continent. Here's the trailer. It includes Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez, Argentine President Cristina Kirchner and her husband, former President Nestor Kirchner, Brazilian President Luis Ignacio Lula da Silva, and Ecuadorian President Rafael Correa.
Who is Hugo Chavez? Some believe he is the enemy.
He's more dangerous than bin Laden, and the effects of Chavez's war against America could eclipse those of 9/11.
Some believe he is the answer.
I am with you, Chavez. Hello, President.
But no matter what you believe, in South America, he is just the beginning.
Venezuela is important because they're the 3rd largest supplier of petroleum.
Bush planificó.
Chavez. Bush made a plan. First, Chavez, oil. Second, Saddam, Iraq,
Petróleo.
oil. Cristina Kirchner, President of Argentina. For the first time in the region, the leaders look like the people they govern. If you go to Bolivia and look at the face of Evo, the face of Evo is the face of a Bolivian.
Could we say the goal of presidents of the region would be to own their own natural resources? Possibly.
Lula da Silva, President of Brazil. The only thing I want is to be treated as equals. I personally have no interest in fighting with the United States.
Rafael Correa is now being cast as one of the bad left.
With all due respect, knowing the North American media, I would be more worried if they spoke well of me.
Today, the Argentinian president, with concerns about U.S. trade policy, seemed in no hurry to embrace his American counterpart.
Nestor Kirchner, former president of Argentina. Bush told me the best way to revitalize the economy is war, and that the United States has grown stronger with war. Those were his exact words.
This summer, take an incredible look at an extraordinary movement.
Lula da Silva, for the first time, the poor are treated like human beings. Chavez. And perhaps this is one of the things that keeps us going. The optimism, faith, and hope, and the concrete evidence that we can change the course of history. It's possible, Oliver.
South of the border.
I'm just curious, how many sets of shoes do you have?
Cristina Kirchner. They always ask questions like this to women. I don't get it. They never ask a man how many pairs of shoes he has.
And that was the trailer for Oliver Stone's South of the Border. It's being released this week in New York, south of the border. The leftist transformation in the region might be ignored or misrepresented as nothing but anti-Americanism in the mainstream media, but the film seeks to tell a different story. Released in Latin America earlier this month, opening here in the United States this week. Award-winning director Oliver Stone joins us here in New York, and we're joined by the acclaimed writer and activist Tariq Ali. He co-wrote the screenplay for South of the Border with Mark Weisbrot. We welcome you both to Democracy Now! Oliver Stone, welcome for the first time to Democracy Now! It's good to have you here. Talk about why you chose to make this film.
It chose me. I do feature films most of the time, but I've done 6 documentaries and work. This is my 4th one, and it gets right to the point. You know, you don't, with a film you take a year. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of actors, costumes, script. This is a much simpler way of going about it, and it keeps you humble. It keeps you in the field. I've been going down to South America off and on for 20 years. I did Salvador there in 1985 with about the Central America situation. I was shocked what I saw. I'd been back from Vietnam for about for 15 years at that point, and I saw all these American soldiers down in Honduras and you know, fighting against the Nicaraguan government. I saw them in Salvador, and I saw them in a form of them in Costa Rica. I was shocked, and from that thing I went back and saw Chiapas. I saw Commander Marcos. I rode with him a bit in the jungle. And then I went down there to Cuba. I had problems with Cuba because my films were censored here. They were not shown. One of them was not shown. Comandante. It was taken off the air. It was shown in Europe. And then, Chavez, it was not shown on HBO. It was pulled from HBO. It was promoted, and then it was taken off the air 2 weeks before.
Why?
Because that was after that sort of that mindset of post 9/11. You know, there was a lot of hysteria in the air, and Castro had just arrested hijackers. There'd been a confrontation with Bush. So HBO kindly told me, you know, we'd like you to complete the film and go back and ask him some other questions. I said, no, this is my film. This is the way it's finished. I'll go back and I do another film called Looking for Fidel, which we ended up doing. So I asked him a lot of hard questions on Looking for Fidel, which was aired. But they never aired the it's a heartbreaking story for me personally as a filmmaker, because I really put a lot of effort into it. It's a 90-minute film. It's played all over the world except here. So Chavez was sort of a natural, because he was such a demonized, polarizing figure. But when I met him, it was not at all what I thought, you know, what we made him out to be. So I went on from talking to Hugo. He suggested, you know, go talk to other people in the region. You know, don't believe me necessarily. So we went